we bring in Taylor Shire from the Regina Leader Post and Post Media to talk about that, preview the Labor Day Classic, and we got to talk a little Pats too. Taylor, thanks again for the time. I really appreciate you coming on. Love talking to you. Did this Rourke conclusion, was that what you expected? Because I thought he was going to go to another team. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, well, there was a reason that he signed with Jacksonville in the first place, and I think that was an opportunity to compete. There was other teams obviously interested in him, and he very well might have had a better shot at the second job behind a starter elsewhere. But I think he was obviously comfortable with Jacksonville, and I think this just speaks to that, him having a long-term approach, not saying, I need to be on the field in year one, but maybe, I'm on the practice roster in year one, and maybe I go elsewhere in year two, year three, or wherever, or maybe I get an opportunity. Obviously, injuries happen, trades can happen, other things can happen. So he's obviously not rushing. He's a young quarterback. Not overly surprised because he obviously picked Jacksonville for a reason. Not surprised that he's sticking around there, albeit on the practice roster.
Yeah, major star and a great young man. Hey, so give me your preview of the Labor Day Classic Sunday, Winnipeg at Sask. We now know who the quarterbacks are going to be. How much are you looking forward to the game?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm just heading inside to practice. Riders are back at practice right away here, so going in there after I jump off this call. And Jake Dolegala fully expected to be the starting quarterback. Craig Dickinson said after last game before the bye week that he wasn't going to name a starter yet. I think he was being a little bit coy. Obviously, Dolegala picked up his first win, looked good against the BC Lions in quite an upset there. Mason Fine still nursing a hamstring injury, so fully expect Jake Dolegala to get all the reps this week at practice before Sunday's game. And I think, again, the Riders are going to come in as massive underdogs in this one, but really nobody picked them last week 2 weeks ago against the BC Lions. They upset the Lions. I think they have a chance this week against Winnipeg, especially with it being at home. We've seen it before time and time again in the Labor Day Classic where anybody can win. We've seen massive upsets. We've seen close games. We've seen the favorite win plenty of times as well. So I'm not going to outwardly say that the Riders are going to win this game, but they're certainly going to have a chance. I think they'll keep it competitive, especially with Dolegala at the offense after looking good last week.
Did he ever? What are your thoughts on this? I mean, the Bomber fans will tell you they've owned that stadium. And the fact is they've won every significant game in there. They won the opener, every playoff game they've met the Riders. What is it about their dominance in that stadium, do you think? And do you think it continues on Sunday?
I don't really think it's their dominance in the stadium. I just think they've been dominant over the last number of years in the CFI. I bet you they have a winning record at every stadium if you look at. Obviously, their fans travel well for a game which they are favored. And I think we'll see a lot of blue and gold fans at Mosaic this weekend. So that, I think, gives Winnipeg a bit of an advantage, just having the traveling fan base. But I don't think it's just Mosaic. I think I'd have to look at the last 4 or 5 years. I bet you they have a winning percentage at every visiting stadium just due to their success that they've had being a dominant team in the CFL. Obviously, they started maybe not as hot as some would have expected, but I think BC has kind of taken a step down last month or so, and Winnipeg's kind of trending upwards to being, that elite team in the West Division.
You're a Sask kid. Do you have a favorite Labor Day Classic memory?
I'm going to say Kerry Joseph, 2007. I was in the stands. I was, I'm going to say still in high school at the time. No, I was in university, I think, first year. It was a remarkable. I remember where I was sitting in the old Mosaic Stadium. The roof basically blew off the place that didn't have a roof, obviously. But it was so loud. It was just one of those moments that I'll never forget. Just the sheer electric atmosphere that was Mosaic at the time when Kerry Joseph ran in. That's definitely the one that stands out for me.
2007 Labor Day Classic, doing my John Lynch imitation. 27 yards with 27 seconds left to go. Yeah, that's a lot of people's favorite Labor Day memory. Mine was my first ever called. The Riders beat G. Roy Simon and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 1999. Curtis Mayfield set a franchise record with 2 punt return touchdowns that day. But enough about memory lane. Jake Dolegala, tell me about this guy. Did you think he was capable of what he pulled off against BC 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, he's certainly capable. He's he bounced around the NFL for a reason. Several teams picked him up for a reason. He's got the skill set. He's a smart enough guy that he can pick up an offense. 6'7". He's got a bullet of an arm. He has all the skills. It's just a matter of time that it takes a young quarterback to get adjusted to playing professional football. And with a full week of practice, that was his first ever full week of practice as the starting quarterback, taking all the number one reps heading into that BC game. And obviously that paid off. He's got all the skills. I think just being a young guy, right? He's only been up here for 2 years and that was his first full week of practice. So if he can get another full week of practice this week, and if they want to keep riding him through the ups and downs of a young quarterback, I think there's something here. He's obviously got the skill set, got the arm, got the brains to be a starter in this league for a long period of time. So not really surprised that he was able to put together that performance. Surprised that the team won, sure, but not really what Jake Dolegala did. I think he looked good, but he has looked good in the limited action he's seen so far.
Quick one, you said you're going into rider practice right away here, folks. Give Taylor Shire a follow on Twitter. If you don't, but I thoroughly enjoy it because you're tweeting about the Regina Pats now, my favorite team on the planet. So you're obviously covering them. What's the vibe? What's it going to be like? No Connor Bedard, no John Paddock. That is a major change from what Pats fans have become used to the last couple of years.
Yeah, they open up camp on Wednesday. They'll hit the ice on Thursday. I'm going to head down there Thursday, talk to a few players. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation with them. Obviously, you mentioned Bedard, Stanislav Svozil's moved on, Alex Suzdalev has moved on. So Tanner Howe, Borje Valis will be the top forwards to rely on for the Pats this year. And on the back end, Drew Sim is out with an injury. He's got a lower body injury that's going to keep him out for at least a month, if not more. The team is calling him out indefinitely. So there's going to be a new starting goalie this year for the Pats. They signed Yuen Hue, son of Cristobal Hue, former NHLer. Who I was a big fan of growing up as a Montreal Canadiens fan. But so they've got Yuen Hue and Kelton Pine from White City. He played, I believe, 20 games over the last 2 seasons and looked good in his rookie season. So there's going to be a battle for the number one goalie at camp. Obviously, a lot of different changes in the top 5 scorers, with 3 of them being gone. New head coach, new general manager. It's going to be... we're not expecting them to be as good as they were last year, getting into the playoffs, losing to Saskatoon. Connor Bedard basically sold out rinks all across all across Western Canada. So they're certainly not going to be as good, but I think they do have the right pieces in place to sort of go through a mini rebuild again, if you want to call it that.
Well, we're following it closely, and I'll just tell you, you are my go-to. So I'll thank you right now for all the info. Thanks for this, man. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the game.
Appreciate it. Talk to you soon, Roddy.
Taylor Shire, the top sports guy at the Regina Leader Post.